Best Incredibles character.
Oh my gosh, this is a good question. I'm gonna go ahead and say Frozone. I think Frozone's the best character.
You stole my idea.
I think Frozone, what can I say? Samuel L. Jackson is Frozone, and Frozone is Samuel L. Jackson. It's just the perfectly cast, perfectly executed, perfectly written character. What do you think, Ethan?
Not much else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all. It's either that or Edna. I think Edna.
I feel like she's pretty annoying, and I don't like her character that much.
No kicks.
Yeah, she's a bit over the top, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, did that movie come out like 2003 or 4?
I don't
It's
know.
2004. I got you.
Nice one.
It's still, it's important to talk about these things.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's always good to just.
I do like Buddy though.
Buddy?
The villain.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Frozen is as a character is far superior.
So my dad was watching it the other day, and I think we might have had some, like my nephew and niece over. They're very, very young. And we were watching it, and I think he had forgotten that the bad guy gets sucked into the intake of a jet at the very end. And so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of dark for a children's movie.
No capes.
Yeah.
I remember the McDonald's toys when I was little.
What?
Yeah, I didn't get McDonald's that much, but every once in a while, get a kid's meal, and they had like the McDonald's toys back in like 2004 when the movie came out.
Yeah.
It was great times, simpler times.
Back when you could go inside McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, I guess 10 months ago we could. 11 months ago we could have too.
Right.
Times are changing.
The times they are changing.
So, what's your favorite anime?
Yes.
A friend of mine.
So, I know I look the part, but I've never seen a single anime in my entire life. I've never seen an anime other than Avatar.
That is... Okay.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Every weeb out there is going to...
That doesn't classify as
I've
anime.
also never... Yeah. Never watched an anime.
All right, first of all, Avatar: The Last Airbender deserves its own podcast because that's a really cool series.
I've actually never seen it.
I feel like he's having an aneurysm.
You know why? Because it's not because I don't like the story. It's I don't like the animation. And so I got like an episode in, and I was like, I haven't gotten into the meat of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why people like it, but just the animation was like a little of a turn off.
Yeah, so I think the animation is quite a turn off. One thing I really do like is the fight scenes within it are actually really well choreographed. There's something about storytelling where if you have a fight, you need to make sure that what happens is not just a fight, but it develops the character and it develops the plot. Not through dialogue, most people get this wrong, but through what actually happens and what they actually do. So that people's characters are being developed through what they do, not through what they say. There's a deep spiritual allegory.
What if you're blind?
Then I don't imagine you'd be watching too much anime, but I feel like we should edit that out. Okay, so I personally, my favorite anime is the first season of One Punch Man. I really enjoyed the first season of One Punch Man. Yeah, it was like the perfect superhero comedy. It's pretty dark, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I like Two Slap Woman.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
Ethan,
What more fun comes out?
it's not funny. I haven't seen.
something and flipping it on its head.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of anime. I used to watch a lot of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z when I was younger. Obviously, like I can't watch it now because it's overly repetitive. It's basically the same story, just like repurposed with different characters.
Yeah.
Pretty much every arc is like exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that that's my favorite. I do really like Attack on Titan. I didn't get very far into it. I think I maybe got like halfway through the first season. But I thought I really like the animation style, and I do like stories that are a bit darker. It's got like that wartime vibe, which I definitely dig. But yeah, I haven't seen a ton of anime. Also Castlevania, the Netflix Castlevania show. I don't know if that technically classifies as anime, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things which I got a little bit into, but I kind of just don't have a whole lot of interest in, partly because when you talk about anime, there's something about the entire genre where they're not only a part of the genre, but they kind of embrace the genre. They like lean really heavily into the genre. And you see this in the animation, which as much as I really can enjoy the stories, plots, characters, writing of most of these animes, the animation, the fact that they were doing it on such a low budget was just makes it kind of hard to watch. And so you have to really be in love with the genre to truly appreciate it. So I wish that Netflix should stop adapting animes, but I do wish that there would be those anime writers would go into normal, just the normal industry of writing, and so that they would be able to write good stories, but with a better budget. I think that's my personal dream, because I think the writers they have for blockbusters nowadays are pretty bad, but
They're making a lot of money, so
They are. Yeah.
low budget.
Yeah.
So we've got Attack on Titan, nothing, and
Oh no!
Are you sure you haven't seen like any, like not even like a part of an episode that a friend made you watch?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's what he's really into.
Teen Titans on Cartoon Network.
Yes. Okay. So Teen Titans is his favorite anime. All right.
Yeah.
So have you seen the video from JoJo's where it's like all the sound bites, all of like the dialogue, like some of the weird dialogue? It is odd. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. But it is just like, it's so over the top, but in like just the perfect way where it's like comedy gold.
Oh my god.
Like
I
can't. I'm not even going to try to replicate it because it would be impossible to replicate. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Well, partly because you don't know Japanese. It does put a damn.
Oh, it's English.
Oh.
It's English.
Oh my.
It's dubbed English. It's bad, but it's also great.
Yeah. Well, that's one advantage to anime. You can watch anime in just about every language because it's so easy to dub.
Dude, I was watching Parasite.
Nice.
And on Hulu, and for some reason the subtitles were set to Spanish. And I'm just like, this is a Korean movie.
Yeah, it's in Korean and then the subtitles.
And the subtitles are in Spanish. I was like, wow, this is very strange.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
A thing though about that movie, and I think I saw this on Reddit a while back, is someone who's Korean wrote like what their experience was watching the movie. And it was like there was so much subtext and picked up in the language that it totally enhanced the story and like made it like way better. But obviously we wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of the same way probably with a lot of anime. There's just, especially in dubbing or translation, there's so much that's lost. And dubbing is like the worst, and worst translations is even worse than that. And that goes for games too. Like there's some games that are bad.
Yeah.
Like the dubbing is just bad. But anyway.
Oh man. Like this is
I feel like this is right up your alley.
yeah.
Like some witty answer.
Oh,
Two normal things become weird when done back to back.
I would say putting on your clothes and taking a shower, but I mean that's just kind of like a go-to.
That's a simple answer. Yeah.
That's a tough one. What two normal things become weird when done back to back?
Oh, I have a clean G-rated.
Good. That's a good beginning.
Brushing your teeth and then drinking orange juice.
Yes, that is pretty weird. I've done it, but
Regrets. So much regrets.
chewing gum and then drinking cold water.
oof, I do that for fun.
Gosh.
I love that.
It's just.
You can think of so many things.
Yeah.
I don't have any witty answer. I'm so sorry. I failed the motherland.
failed me.
I
Can't believe you've done
I can't believe you've done this. All right.
How to overcome an addiction. Don't start one in the first place.
Man.
Come on, man.
So I don't know. This is a tough question because you can't get into this stuff without being really, really personal. Some of this stuff which you can't really put on air and things like that. It's a tough topic, but
There's so many different like facets to this. Like things that you can get addicted to.
Yeah, so-
I purposefully stated I changed the question to be more broad because I think it's more interesting that way. But yeah, there's so many different like specific things that it could apply to.
yeah.
I'm addicted to to life.
I'm so glad you took it there.
I gotta wake up every day and it's like I gotta do something.
Yeah, he literally can't stop. Once he stops, he dies.
He just has like tons of cereal in his cupboards.
Oh no. I like to powder Life cereal and snort it.
Yeah. Actually, my favorite cereal, if we're going there, is Lucky Charms, and then Life is probably top 5. Yeah.
And Life cereal is pretty good. Anyway, let's actually talk about the question. So one big thing is to realize that you can overcome the addiction, but it will never go away. Like you can't. It's not a done deal. You have to replace it, and even when you replace it, that temptation is always going to be there. You're always going to have that option, and you have to realize that it's okay. Please excuse the 14-year-old girl in me, but you have to realize that life is a journey and that it's a process.
Life is a journey, man. Just embrace it. Just be confident in what you say. Life is a journey, man. Life is a journey.
Anyway, yeah. So life is a journey, and you don't overcome that. It's not something you can just do and then stop. You have to continue to replace it, and you won't succeed.
Without Christ.
First, you won't succeed without Christ, and you can't have perfect success. So you can't be completely free of it in your head, because you'll always remember the mistakes you made from it.
Unless you get in a really bad car accident or in a coma.
I feel like we can safely not put that in as yeah. I'm sure they understand. Yeah, no, I think, and also a really good point is putting a hedge around yourself to protect you from even having the option of having the option.
Or stop it as soon as you start it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up every day and put on the full armor of God.
I mean, I feel like it's realizing, priorities and, what things you need. I don't want to say addicted. Like there are things that you can quote unquote get addicted to, but they're not like actual addictions. So I would say like, put your time and your resources into things that are going to be positive. And then when you have those things that are, potential addictions, you're able to kind of shelve those because you have this other thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. That does make a lot of sense.
I'm sorry, my mind is a little bit distracted from the party going on in Ethan's spine. They're having some kind of rave. Oh my, so much drums. I think also there's something to be said about how addiction is kind of, it's a process. You don't become addicted to something overnight. It's a habit that you start. I mean, even with the hardest of narcotics, there's a chemical addiction that goes on, but you have to reinforce it to keep it going. Yeah. So, I think, man, it's a really good thing to talk about. There's a lot of things which are addictive, which people won't admit to. Yeah. And there's a lot of things which you won't be able to overcome the addiction until you hate it. And that's something, it's easy to say in your head that you hate something when you don't. It's easy to say in your head that something's wrong when you don't really believe it.
Yeah, I have a funny story that kind of relates to that. So when my dad was younger, he used to smoke. It was just like a cultural thing that he did with his friends. And so I think his dad caught him smoking. And so his dad was basically like, okay, we're basically going to like, you're going to smoke an entire pack right now. And obviously he like got super sick and it was just like terrible. Yeah, just throw up and just like terrible. But he never did it again. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's a slow thing that you habitually lean into, and you lean into it more and more. Yep. One thing with addictions is, why are you going to it? Like, that's a really good question. I think as a Christian, it's important for me to continually give things up. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I want to become a monk or anything, but for a season, like to fast, the reason Christians fasted is to realize that they depend on God. And every once in a while, I'll just give up, let's say, what is a good thing? What is a good thing to give up? Yeah, like you give up chocolate or sugar for like a season of your life. And you realize how much you depend on it. Like you really get to see then, is this a problem for me? Is this an idol? If you're going to that instead of facing the problems, then that's already not a chemical addiction, but that's already become
My Chemical Romance.
Well, I guess there are things that you could get addicted to that to fully stop, you just have to like fully like just cut it off. Sure. But then there's things where it's like you could get addicted to them, but the better way to deal with them is just to have moderation. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that applies to everything. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just have moderation when you're doing heroin. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, but you know, if it's like video games, like you have a video game addiction where you just like, you know, that's all that you ever think about. And it's like, you know, I think thinking about that.
The difficulty, and actually this is applicable for me because I've given up video games for a period. Like I think up until Christmas, I think that's when I said I was going to start doing it again. But even then, at this point, I love my life so much right now. I don't know if I ever want to do it again.
Addicted to life.
Yes. Hashtag live, laugh, love.
No, hashtag live, laugh, love. Hashtag blessed.
Again, please forgive the 14-year-old girl that's in this sweater.
Dude, embrace the 14-year-old. Wait, sorry, don't embrace the inner girl in you.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
Do not endorse that.
No, but yeah, there are some things. I think, though, for me, the reason I would say I shouldn't do video games anymore is not because I think they're bad, but because, oh man, somebody said, it might have been Donald Trump Jr. who said this, but he doesn't drink. And when he was asked about why he doesn't drink, he didn't say that alcohol is bad. He says, I just can't drink well. And that's a really good way of putting it. I can't play game. Like I can't do it in moderation. So it's something I have to give up. And also how much enjoyment you're getting from it.
I don't drink for calorie purposes.
Good point. For charisma, a lot of people don't drink because it really dampens your charisma. It does not make you sharper or brighter or more.
I need all the sharpness and brightness again.
Yeah. It does make you care less though. So, you know.
I don't think I'd want to care less. I like caring as much as I do care. Mm. Do you think... Hey, have you ever seen My Strange Addiction?
Nope.
You've never seen that show?
I've heard about it, but it's not something I want to get into.
It's weird. Some lady would eat toilet paper. Yeah, there's some weird things.
Yeah.
Let me guess, Florida.
You know, actually, I bet it was. I just have a really strong feeling that it was Florida.
Good old Florida.
Oh, I'm sure it's Florida.
I wonder what Washington is known for in the entire... Like, nobody knows exactly.
Being one of the first states to legalize weed.
Oh, really?
And Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We are known for Seattle. Everybody asks me, so... Oh.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Poor Oregon, though. I mean, Oregon is now known for Portland. And that's kind of sad. But anyway, let's try the next question.
Meaning versus purpose.
I've had this, I feel like this question kind of comes up frequently.
I don't know. I have two response questions. What do they mean? And then what was the purpose of their question?
What do they mean? Meaning versus purpose.
If this question is talking about human existence, it's really difficult to talk about this without being extremely vague and just completely unprofitable. Yeah. Like you won't be able to really derive much from just me vaguely talking about, well, Bertrand Russell once said that, you know, the existence is really just an illusion. But if you want to talk about meaning versus purpose, the difference is knowing oneself and being known by one. So if you have meaning because of something that you are, and you have purpose because of something you'll do. That's to me the distinction between the two. But they're so vague, and the two words are so badly used that
meaning, purpose, or purpose as believers is to live for the kingdom of God.
Yeah,
you know, meaning versus purpose, they're interchangeable to an extent.
Right.
So one is earlier in the alphabet than the other.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard, when you're talking to someone about this in that general sense.
Yeah.
Like if you're just talking to someone, and they ask you like, do we have inherent meaning?
Yeah, I think Cameron, what's the purpose of this podcast, or what's the meaning of this podcast? Answer the question.
Well, the thing is, okay, so
To talk.
if we want to talk about meaning, meaning is what does meaning mean? No, meaning is really like the truth behind a symbol or the truth behind a communication, right? So if we want to talk about the meaning of a word is the truth which that word represents, right? So I'm just trying to define definition. It's being pedantic here. Just forgive me. Hear me out, guys. So the word meaning, like if we're relating that to ourselves, to a human soul, an eternal thing, what we're trying to do is we're trying to measure a mountain with a yardstick. It's maybe possible, but it is completely unprofitable. You can't, it's just not, the tool is not designed for that. We can't talk about our soul as if it's just a symbol. It's the truth. It's a real thing,
Yeah. But I think it is important to talk about these things because these are a lot of the questions that people who are committing suicide consider, like, does my life have meaning? Because I can't see that. I can't find the purpose. I don't see the meaning in my life. And, a lot of people they go away from a conversation like this, just saying like, well, what is there in life? Because I can't see any meaning in myself.
So I think
That's good.
I think that may branch I think more practically, that belief may branch from the rather toxic belief of atheism, or like that belief of that my life has no meaning, that only comes because you don't believe in a soul. Like if anyone who believes in a soul already knows that there is a meaning. Now, we could talk about like the chemicals, highs and lows of the human brain and stuff like that. I don't know how far we could get while knowing what we're talking about. And we are idiots, so please ignore what you're hearing.
There's no science here.
There's no science here. There's no statistics here.
Well, there is, but only estimated.
We can come up with anyone can come up with statistics.
But if we're talking, yeah. And that's the nice thing. Like 80% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So if we're talking about like someone's own search for meaning, it is something you have to find in yourself. I understand the dilemma, but the very question, the fact that one can ask whether one has meaning means to me that there is meaning, because if you could not ask that question, then there would be no meaning. But the fact that you can ask that question, that you are a human soul that can comprehend that this world is messed up and that this machine is broken.
You're a lot more of an abstract thinker than I am.
And I think the two, like, I think it's better to think of them together. Like, if you're just thinking about your inherent meaning, you're only thinking about like your present up to this point, like what your life has kind of like amounted to, like who you are. Yeah. But, purpose is a future forward thinking thing, which I think is also good to think about. My life may not have much meaning at this moment, but it has purpose in the sense of the future.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So meaning is present, purpose is future, and maybe reputation is past. I don't know. I would say though that if my only hope was in this present life, if all that I could accomplish was, let's say I did the most, like I got it all. I ran my own country. I established the new world order, and I set myself up as the man who runs everything, and I made everything perfect. Let's say I did the best of human ability. So imagine the most genius person times 6. Now, so if I did that, it's all going to go. It's all like entropy is a law that is never broken, as far as we can tell, what we've observed. So we all know that the best countries die. The most extravagant empires fall. And so eventually my meaning will be gone. There's no, unless something is eternal, unless something is
An external meaning.
yeah, and unless there's a meaning that's to be derived from it, as this is some kind of play, and the actors don't just die when they're killed off in the play. They continue going on elsewhere. Unless there is some kind of eternal truth, if there's something absolute, there is no meaning.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, I think, do find meaning in their lives, but I think for the majority of people, meaning is not derived on this earth.
True. Even those people who are happy and find meaning, there are really just two things. Either that they subconsciously actually believe that the human soul is eternal, or that there's something more to this life than just what it is, or they are just distracting themselves from the fact, like they haven't addressed it. And so in that respect, I really respect, I respect an honest nihilist, someone who believes that there is no value, because I don't believe that their premise is true, but I can at least respect the honesty. Anyway, yes. Maybe we should talk some philosophy.
Ethan is saying no with his eyes.
I'm a visionary. I'm like a big picture thinker. I'm not like, I'm initially like, I'm abstract, and then it just stops and I move on to something that doesn't require me to have to dig as deep. Okay. I enjoy listening though. I just have noted, it's just like probably who I am. It's only very certain topics that I can really just like find super, that I enjoy talking about. I love listening, but I don't necessarily always enjoy having to think and give an explanation though. Does that make sense?
I'm bad at communicating, and a lot of my thoughts, I realize once I say them, that they're muddle-helded. They're not completely fleshed out. Unfortunately, I'm an external processor apparently, so I think what I say especially should be taken with a grain of salt.
What book, movie, show, video game, or album would you recommend? So basically, a media recommendation.
Okay. Book. That's a tough one.
I might go for one of each.
Go for it.
One of each. Yeah. Just bam, bam, bam.
I think got to think about the video game. It's been a while. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. So, book. Definitely going into Christmas season, reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Amazing book, really well done. If you are an Audible listener, there is a version read by Tim Curry, which is free on Audible. Movie, going into Christmas season, but also just because it's a classic film and really, really good, is It's a Wonderful Life. I've watched that many times. Yeah, growing up, I watched It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart so many times, but every time I watch it, I get more from it. It's just a really charming movie. If anybody asked me what my life goals were in a movie, I would say It's a Wonderful Life. And then show, I think Psych is a pretty good show. And then video game, I would probably say Portal 2. I don't know why, but I think Portal 2. Yeah, Portal 2, it's a funny game. It's really simple. It does its job well. Yep.
Nice.
Your album.
Oh, album? Oh, man.
Like
Handel's Messiah. Handel's Messiah by Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Yes.
Oh, that's good. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm not... Well, let's not talk doctrine, but I'm not a polygamist, but I do enjoy. Yeah.
Choirs are good. They get you right there, you know? Yeah.
How about you, man?
That's a tough one. One specific book that I'd recommend. I don't know if it's my favorite book. It's a book I read this year. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Yeah, man, you still have
to say that. I still have to let you borrow that. Yes, great book. Changed my life. Very easy read. Movie. Christmas time. Nostalgic. The Harry Potter series. Got to binge watch them.
Oh, my word.
Got to binge watch them. Yeah, come on, man.
We recently went through all of them.
Oh, my goodness.
After having not seen them for like years.
Fire, man. Show. A TV show. That's a tough one. There's so many good TV shows. I like TV shows where I can put them on in the background and just listen to it, and laugh. I love like sitcoms, Parks and Rec, The Office, New Girl, How I Met Your Mother. Just things where I can visually like see it, and like just from like hearing it, I can like just picture everything that's happening.
Interesting. That's what I call an audiobook.
Turn them into an audiobook then. For video games, that's a tough one. Oh, my favorite video game of all time is James Bond Golden.
Oh, Golden.
On the 64, Nintendo 64.
20 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Favorite game of all time. And then album, that's a tough one. Any Carrie Underwood album.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a Carrie Underwood
I'm a
fan?
big Carrie Underwood.
Oh, man. You get along well with my sisters.
All right. A book. I'm gonna say Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Oh yeah,
It's a great book about taking responsibility for your life and sometimes other people's decisions. It's got a lot of good examples, good like Navy SEAL examples. Like in the battlefield where consequences are like super immediate, but also a lot of good like workplace examples. And yeah, it's just good. Getting the audiobook, it's written by him, so you get that like intensity from him directly reading it. But it's pretty great. Movie, yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like I haven't watched a movie in a while, just because of like I used to go to see movies a lot. Like last year, I used to go to the theater like all the time.
Yeah.
And this year, obviously, not so much. Oh man, I would say for movie, it's one from last year, but it kind of stuck with me. A Hidden Life. So it is a movie about an Austrian who basically was enlisted. It's a true story, but it's basically an Austrian who was enlisted to fight for the Nazis during World War II.
Yeah.
Basically, Sound of Music. It's got really great cinematography. The score is so good. But
is it a foreign film?
No, it's by the guy that did Tree of Life. He's kind of a divisive filmmaker. His movies are usually like really long and they're kind of stream of consciousness. So really loose flowing.
Yeah.
But A Hidden Life is just like perfect in every way. And it's pretty great. Show, I'm gonna say Twin Peaks, which is currently the show that I'm going through right now. I'm like kind of in the slow part of season 2 where it's like a lot of character development and not much is happening. But I think there's a lot of people that don't like season 2, especially for the slow parts. But honestly, like I like the comedy bits and the slow parts and like when nothing's really happening. Like I don't know, I just find it really entertaining. Just to watch the characters interact with each other and like do things. Yeah. I don't know. I like the world and the music and the atmosphere and obviously the main character is the best. I can't remember his name, but the cop, he's obviously the best, but it's just very enjoyable. And I don't have to like pay like super close attention to it. So I can kind of like do some other like work stuff or other, creative stuff kind of while I'm watching it. I don't have to like devote an hour, just to watch this thing. But yeah, and then video game. Most recent video game that I played that was really great was Ghost of Tsushima, which it's kind of like an old Akira Kurosawa samurai movie. So like it's very cinematic and it's got like those classic like samurai tropes, but it's a really well done story. And just the music too, like so good.
For sure.
It would either be tied between that or God of War, the 2018 game, which is my favorite game of all time.
Really?
It's perfect.
That's quite
it's perfect in basically every way. I don't want to rant on about this for too long, but it's like an unbroken take. So there's no like transitions. You could basically play the entire game ostensibly in like one cut, like one take. Yeah. Which, in movies when they do it, it's like super impressive. But it's also pretty impressive to do in games, especially when you're going between like cinematics and gameplay and that kind of stuff. The combat is just like super satisfying. The story is fantastic. The mocap is like top notch. And then the music is just fantastic.
Nice. Interesting. I'll just take a look at it.
It's so good. And then album, I would say either that Tame Impala album that I was talking about, The Slow Rush, which is his most recent album. If you're not into like indie and psych rock and that kind of stuff, I would say look up April in Paris by Count Basie. It's a really good jazz album, probably my favorite jazz album.
I was listening to that today, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I will whistle to every one of those songs. It's so good.
Jazz. Really like it.
I take back mine. I don't have a favorite album.
Really?
No, I have like 10,000 songs on my iPad, on my iTunes Music.
Sick.
But like, I have like, I have them categorized for the most part. Not nearly like yours.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have I don't know. I'm sure I do. Like I'll have to look back on like my iTunes, like most.
There isn't like a song or an album that you like keep going back to every once in a while.
Favorite song of all time is Tracy Chapman, Fast Car.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite song.
One song I've been listening to over and over again because it's just been stuck in my head is The Cocaine Blues by Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
I've heard that song.
You haven't? Well, I'll have to show it to you sometime.
Right.
What's the next question? Gone through all.
Another funny,
Carson.
funny Carson question.
What set of store items would make a cashier uncomfortable? Store items.
Okay, so I worked in a hardware store for about 9 months. I worked in a hardware store in a small town in rural Washington. And there is just about no set of items that would make me uncomfortable at this point. People have bought shotgun shells, plastic bags, and rope at the same time. And I've never felt, oh, you know what? I should probably ask questions about this. No, it's just, you just don't ask questions. But wouldn't make Robbie uncomfortable, would make a cashier uncomfortable. I was a cashier. And I think the only thing that would make me uncomfortable, I don't know. Keeping it PG. I think sometimes buying rope can be just a little bit uncomfortable,
Rope. Yeah. I can see that. Just rope?
There are certain items that can go along with that, but yeah, I'd say just rope.
Yeah. Cam?
I would say some large plastic containers. And I'm making a Breaking Bad reference here.
Oh.
Like a lot of like gloves and disinfectant products and
When somebody buys a bunch of fertilizer at the same time.
But so fertilizer.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
Gosh. Something that would make me really uncomfortable. A lot of like, I don't know this.
I don't know, rubbing alcohol in drinking glasses.
A lot of hand sanitizer, like a crap ton of hand sanitizer, like rubbing alcohol, and then like a lot of. If someone came with like a ton of like rubbing alcohol, hand sanitizer, like, and then like a ton of paper towels or like clean like rag, I don't know.
Nice.
Just be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's what I don't know. Okay, next question. Nice job, Carson. Thank you.
So I think we're pretty much just gonna wrap it up at this point. So this kind of leads into our next episode. What questions do we want to receive, if anything, is off limits or not?
So yes, guys, thank you so much for listening today. As far as what questions do we want to receive, we're actually coming up with something where you guys can submit all the questions anonymously. So you can ask whatever you want. Nobody will know. Is anything off limits? You can submit whatever you want. If it's too questionable, we will run it through our board of advisors or edit it out and go from there. But yeah, submit whatever you want. If you do it anonymously, who cares? So the more questions, the better.
All right. There is another question, but we're not going to be able to answer it today.
What are your Myers-Briggs types?
So what are our Myers-Briggs types? So I don't remember what mine are, so I'm going to have to go and look it up. But it'd be cool if we could, do some research on that. Come back and discuss.
Is this for the next question? Is this like going to be in the first?
Yeah, we can carry it over to the next episode.
I am an Okay, swill Father who lives in heaven, vascular be thy veins, thy gains come, thy sets be done, overhead as it is on chest. Give us this day our daily macros and forgive us our cheat days as we forgive those who curl up in the squat rack. Lead us not into half reps, but deliver us from CrossFit. For thine is the bro, the PR, the natty forever. Wayman.